Hey everybody, how you doing? Welcome back. My name is John Taglieri. I am your host. This is the Sunday Storytellers Series. Welcome back. It's Sunday. It's 6 o'clock. This is what we do, right? We are right now live on Facebook, on Twitch, on YouTube, and on Periscope, as well as broadcasting on the Plymouth Rock TV channel on Roku. I'm reminding you yet again, as I have been for the whole month, that as of July 5th, we are going exclusively to Roku. So if you don't have a Roku yet, go get one. They're $29. You're going to get a whole bunch of channels. It's your first step on cutting the cord and getting away from that big cable bill. But we're going to be strictly and exclusively on the Plymouth Rock TV channel on Roku starting July 5th. So make sure you do something before then to get yourself set up. You'll get snippets. You'll still see everybody who's going to be on the show. I'll give you some highlights and maybe a song or two. I'm going to tease you. But to see the whole thing and really appreciate all the singers and songwriters that we're bringing on, you're going to have to be on Roku with us. If you've got a newer smart TV, Roku's probably part of it already. So you probably have that all set. Don't forget, we're also 7 p.m. Thursdays on the Plymouth Rock TV channel, Roku. And you can stream it anytime. It's on demand, both on YouTube and on Roku. So you can do that anytime. I want to say thanks for coming back this week. Do appreciate it. The show is growing, and it's thanks to you that it is. We have a great guest today, someone who I'm a big fan of, and I'm truly excited that she said yes to coming on the show. We've known each other a long time, and I've watched her career kind of blossom. And as a fellow indie, I get to see, what some of the other indies do. And I get to see the ones who do it right, and I get to see the ones who don't do it right. And there's been a lot of them in my career that were the next big thing, who I didn't see them doing it right, and their next big thing went. My guest today is Amy Gerhartz, and Amy is one of those people you may not know, but she's had a career to be really proud of, and she is a singer-songwriter and self-love advocate that blends pop, rock, folk, and other genres. She's recorded 3 full-length albums and is currently working on more music. She has performed all around the country with her original music, connecting with her audiences at festivals and fairs, and then house concerts and online shows now. She's been nominated for Best Pop Album and Best Pop EP at the Independent Music Awards. She's done 6 cross-country independent tours and has been an artist on the Rock Boat 5 times, as well as an alumni of Rock by the Sea. She's opened for and shared stages with people like Sister Hazel and Jason Mraz and Better Than Ezra and Carbon Leaf and so many, many more. Ladies and gentlemen, I want to bring on my guest, Amy Gerhartz.
Hi.
Hi, Amy. How are you?
I'm great, John. How are you?
I'm awesome. It's so good to see you.
It's good to see you too. Thanks for having me.
My pleasure. It's been a fun few months being able to have folks like you come on the show. And I love that I get to bring this music to everybody. I wasn't kidding with everything I just said. I've been a big fan of yours for many years.
This feels nice. I need to have you intro all my stuff.
You could just take this video and play it before your shows.
Great.
So why don't you tell everybody a little bit more about you than I did?
Yeah, absolutely. I've been a musician, for what feels like forever at this point in my life and my career. I grew up singing and playing music. I come from a pretty musical family, or at least half of my family is really musical. I went to school for music. I went to Florida State University. That's where I picked up a guitar. I was probably 20 years old when I bought my first guitar. I'd been songwriting probably since I was in high school. I don't think the songs got good until much later in life. But yeah, I've been playing music live pretty much since 2003. And then in 2007, I quit my job to do music full time and to pursue a career in music. And I've been doing that ever since. And
That's
so
awesome.
I've just been really blessed and fortunate. I've made lots of connections with lots of wonderful people and have been able to tour across country independently and to sell my music and just connect with people. So I'm very, very blessed.
And you're also, lately, in the last few years, you've delved into inspirational speaking.
I'm actually working on some speeches right now, or some talks. A friend of mine is convincing me to put together a TED talk that I'm really excited about, and then I'm
Nice.
also actually diving into some coaching as well, kind
What,
of my own
what kind of
personal
coaching?
mindset coaching.
Okay. Yep.
Actually, yeah. So I've been there's a program I'm working on that I'm so excited to share with you, but I can't divulge all of the information yet because I haven't gone through all the copyrights and the patents and the things that are not patents, but the trademarks and all the things I need to do first.
Right.
But it would be basically, I'm a big self-love advocate. You know, I know you've followed some of my stuff, and
Yep.
you're very inspirational too. We've had lots of discussions about mindset. And for me, I'm a firm believer that that just affects everything we do. And
Yeah.
so I've found that some of the most rewarding parts of my shows now are not even me playing my music, but being able to talk to people afterwards. So in addition to being a musician, I really want to be able to connect with more people and just share that journey of self-love, share the inspiration with them, kind of give them a starting point for anyone who might struggle with that. And yeah, and so I'm pumped. We're getting into a whole new territory here. So it
Yeah.
should be some really good stuff. And when it does come out, you will be the first one to know about it because I'd
Thank you.
love your feedback.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
A few weeks ago, I had Brant Menswar on the show,
Ooh,
and I don't
okay.
know if you know who that is.
Uh, it sounds very familiar, so I feel like I've heard of him before.
So Brant is another musician. I know him for years and years and years. He's had a few bands that were signed to labels, but right now, besides having his band Big Kettle Drum, he's one of the top 10 inspirational speakers in the country.
Oh,
So we
awesome.
had a very similar chat on the show about this.
Yeah, I would love to meet this guy then.
I'm gonna
Absolutely.
put you two together because
Connect.
it's a natural fit. Yeah.
Yeah, that would be great.
So tell us about your music.
Yeah. Oh, my music. You know, like many people, you start off in one sound and it evolves and all
Yeah.
of that over time. When I first started writing music, I was really big into more folk music, the singer-songwriter, which is funny because when you say singer-songwriter now, if you're, I've been in Nashville the last couple of years. I'm currently in Virginia. This is my parents' house that I'm in their attic here doing this video. But the in Nashville, like you say singer songwriter, and that's such a broad term. Anywhere
Yeah.
outside of Nashville, you say singer songwriter, and people automatically picture a girl with a guitar and strumming and like
Yep.
very flowy folk music. I started out doing kind of that style mixed with pop. And then over the last couple of years, I've really dug into the fully produced pop music. And being my own journey with self love and my own growth in that area, a lot of my music now over the last couple of years has turned into be very inspirational, positive. Really just you get to a point, I think, as an artist where you and I'm sure you've been here and gone through this, but you say, okay, I wrote a drinking song, that was cool. I've written a breakup song, that's cool too, but like what else can I contribute? Like what can I say to the world? And
Right.
so that's really the direction of a lot of my music over the last couple of years. And there's still drinking songs and dancing songs and breakup songs and all those things as
Well,
well.
because it's all part of life. I think
It is
life in
part of life.
general just contributes to where we go as a writer.
Absolutely.
But I
Absolutely.
say this, and I've had this same chat, and I'm going to have this chat with everybody who ever comes on the show. I say a lot of times that we don't write songs. We are
Oh,
conduits. The muse is
yeah.
out there. There's a message that needs to be told, and at some point it picks you to tell it. And if you accept it,
I
we get the song.
preach. I agree with you 1000%. And I think when I figured that out as an artist and as a writer, I didn't hold things so closely anymore because I knew it wasn't about me. It was about, I was using it to fuel and funnel through like my emotions, putting those into songs. But I do agree that like the inspiration when it comes to you, it really is almost like, especially if you get a really good song and because I've written a lot of crappy songs too.
Haven't
I
we
don't want
all?
I don't want anybody to think that if you're like you're a good songwriter all of the time. Nobody's a good
No.
songwriter all of the time. Even
I
the best
equate it to baseball. If you can hit 300, if you get 3 out of 10, you've done a good job.
you're winning at something. But yeah, we've all just like had those moments where you get a really good song and it flows through you. I remember there was a song I wrote with my friend Michelle, and it was a song called "Crazy for Me" that Tony Luca sings on
Oh, he's
the
awesome.
album.
I got to get
And
him on the show.
Oh, you totally do. And I remember when I wrote that song with Michelle, or when she and I wrote it together, we were finished in like an hour and a half. And afterwards we're like, are we done? Like, is this it? Because it felt
Yeah.
like it was so easy that it came out. And then there are other times you write a song and it comes out so quickly that you're like, I, I don't even know what just happened, you know? So
Yeah.
I do agree with you. I think that once you've written a song and once you've released it into the world, you just dust off your hands, don't overanalyze it, don't think about it. It will get to the people it needs to get to.
Are
So,
you typically someone who is a quick write, or are you someone who agonizes and like everything has to, every line? And because I've written with both those, I used to go to Nashville a lot and write with a lot of people,
yeah,
and I wrote with the people who were like stopping at every line, and
yeah,
it drove me nuts because I'm like, let's let the song speak and then we can fix it. And then I wrote with those people who were like, there it is, here you go.
yeah. I am both. I think it depends on the song. I think it depends on the co-write. If I'm doing a song myself, I've written songs that have come out, within a couple hours and you're done. And then I've written songs that have taken months to finish.
Yeah.
Um, I have done some of those co-writes as well. I would say I'm analytical. I try not to be overly analytical because there is, paralysis of analysis that can happen when
Yep.
you do anything. But I will say that I've had a few co-writes where the person I was with was that overly like line by line, word by word, and it was excruciatingly painful
Yes.
to go through that. However, the end result was incredible. So to me, it's more like it doesn't really matter how you get there as long as you get there. So,
Are you
but
a
yeah,
notebook person? Do you keep a notebook and write song titles? Do you write ideas? Are they in your phone?
no,
Like
I mean,
what's your process these days?
let me rephrase that. I do have notebooks. I have about a box full of maybe, I don't know, 6 or 7 notebooks that are half written in with like chicken scratch. I had to stop doing the notebook thing because I would not ever go back and reread the notebooks. I'm a phone person. I get a lot of ideas in the car, when I'm driving or when I'm out and about or walking, anything where I'm distracted or I'm not, when I'm able to free my brain up because I'm not overly focused on something is usually when the ideas come to me.
Okay.
So I have lots of like voice recordings on my phone. But in terms of being the person that sits down and like has a whole like I don't know Google document of song titles and ideas, I'm really not that person. Not that I couldn't be. Most of the time, I don't know. I mean, I probably could be. I could probably be a little more disciplined with that, but it's just sometimes I like the titles themselves just come naturally, usually
Right.
because it's got the theme of the song. So unless I don't ever write off title. I kind of write what the overlining theme of the song is, and then let the title come naturally after that.
That's one thing I miss about touring because I haven't toured since my kids
Yeah.
knew I was leaving. I stopped leaving, and a lot of my writing ideas would come when I was driving because I had nothing else to do. My mind
Yeah.
could slow down, and all of a sudden that would start.
I love that. The one bonus of being, or well, one of the bonuses of being on the road. I mean, obviously touring and playing music is a bonus, but it is, there is a grind to the travel and the
Yeah.
touring and, you being a father, like not being able to be home with your wife and kids, like that's got to be a struggle. Or I'm sure it was at the
It
time.
was.
And
Yeah.
so, yeah, there's, so you have your good and your bad. I get people all the time, they're like, I try to say the grass is always greener, and not to downplay what we do as musicians or artists or writers. We get to do something we love, which is incredible. However, we still miss birthdays, we still miss dinners, we still miss, a lot of
Yeah.
other life events that end up happening because we're pursuing something that we love. So
Yeah.
there's a give and take to it, guys.
And you know what? You miss it. There's times I miss it, but then I it was like, would you go back out on the road today? I was like, it wasn't an automatic yes, because there is that grind,
Yeah.
and that's I'm not as young as I used to be, and I'm like, I wonder if I could do 3 hours a night sleep anymore.
Yeah, I've never been able to do 3 hours a night sleep. I'm the person that's like, I need a good 8 to 10. So yeah, I'm actually getting to the point where, I mean, I love touring, but if we can even count this year, because it's COVID season, with everything being shut down, because I did tour in January and February this year. But if we count this year, this will be year 7 of me touring cross country, and pending I'm even able to get out at all the rest of the year. But I'm getting to that point where I'm like, okay, I love this and it's awesome, but what's next? Like I'm the type of person when I've accomplished something I want to accomplish, I gotta not necessarily level up, but I gotta find something else. Like
Yep.
I've gotta re-excite. And I love playing house shows. I love the festivals that I do. But yeah, I also think about things too. Like, do I want to get married someday? Do I want to have a family as well? And like, do I also want to be 50 or 60, like driving my car across country? I don't know. Like,
Right.
your back starts hurting after a while. Like you get older, things don't work
Yes.
as well as they
Yeah, this
used to.
is
And you're like,
true. Well, that
but
was another
yeah,
thing. I was going to ask you about your house because you do a lot of house concerts.
I do a lot of house concerts. Yeah, I would say to 80 to 85% of all the shows that I do are house concerts.
That's awesome.
Um, they're amazing. They're so incredible. The
So,
people
people,
are,
if you're looking for someone to come to your
yeah,
house and play music,
right
right,
now
right there.
yeah, I can even virtual play at your house right now.
Yeah.
That's that most musicians are like, yeah, whatever. I mean, it's funny that when you get to a place as a musician, whether you're a cover artist or, a touring artist or any of those things, when you're in high demand, it's easy to say no to shows because you just think, okay, I would love to do that show, but I need to take a break, like if you're, because I did bar gigs for a long time. Like
Yep.
before I toured with my original music, like every other musician, I had to do the cover show grind. I had to earn my chops of like, I've got to get experience. I've got to play this coffee shop. And I would work in my original music as well. But I didn't have at that point when I was starting out, 13 years ago, I didn't have 2-3 hours of original music yet. I needed to build that up. And I would play, hotels or bars or all this stuff. But when you even if you're a cover musician and you're playing like 6 nights a week, you still need one night off. And so when you're super busy, you're like, okay, I can take that off. However, now in COVID, it's like I haven't played a show in months. I'll take anything right now.
Yeah.
Like just
We've started getting
whoever
some
wants
back
to
up
book
here
me.
finally. I've done a
I'm
few
sorry.
private parties in the last few
Oh
weeks.
yeah.
And now we get my agent called up and said, "Hey, your one club is coming back online, starting to come back a little bit."
Starting to come back a little bit. I love it. Yeah.
All
But
right, so
online
let's talk
platforms are good
about
too.
"Hold
Mhm.
On."
Oh, yes.
So tell me
Love it.
about the song. Tell me, where did it come from? What was the impetus?
Well,
What was
you know
the
what? That's a great question, and actually, it leads perfectly from the last conversation we just had. Hold on, I got the idea for this song at the end of a tour. It was maybe a couple years ago, and I was in my car, and this feeling from being on the road. Like I was just physically and mentally exhausted. I had booked
Yes.
myself because when I book a tour, I mean, I go for it. I've like the first year I was out for 5 months in a row. The second year I did 6 months in a row. Like there, I didn't take breaks, and I've tried to take more breaks now as the years have gone on. But I had, it was kind of back to back from like May to October, November is a lot of touring. And like this is minor touring in comparison to what big national acts do. But for me, I just physically and mentally, I was tired. I was really
Yeah,
worn
but
out.
you also don't have the support that those acts do. You don't
That's,
have somebody tour managing you and driving you. You have to
gonna,
do the driving. You have to do the
yeah.
calls. You have to do
Yeah,
so.
exactly. And so, but yeah, and it's just a different type of work.
Right.
Absolutely. I I just was tired, and I remember being in my car, just kind of like going into that mental space of like, okay, like I love doing this. I love playing music. I love connecting with people, and I love being self-employed. But it's like I also don't have a retirement. I also don't like get time with my
Yeah.
family. I don't, it's like that whole part where you start to doubt a little bit and you're like, okay, how much more can I do? How many more shows can I play? How many more miles can I put in my car? How many more, spare bedrooms and couches and places can I sleep in? Because the people that host me for shows, I stay at their homes
Right.
as well, and they feed me, and it's wonderful. It's absolutely such a fulfilling, wonderful connection. But at the same time, like if you're used to a certain bed or a certain pillow, and like like it just messes with you a little bit. And I just got to this place where I was like, how much more do I have? And I had this little voice that kind of came into my head, and it said, just hold on, just don't give up. Good things are going to come. Hold on and don't give up. Good things are going to come. And that's all I had. And then I started thinking, okay, like I got this melody in my head because I kind of write melody and lyrics at the same time. I do what I call phonetic writing, where I'll get a melody and I'll just kind of sing something that sounds like words to get like the vowel placement.
Yes. Yep. I've done that same thing.
Oh yeah, I love doing that. It's easy. I'm like, it's just like, I mean, it sounds silly when I do it like that, but you get like, I get ideas. I'm like, okay, I know that whatever word I put there, I want it to have like an A sound, and whichever one here, it's going to have like a ooh, you know? But I had this, this melody pop in my head. I was like, good things are gonna come. Good things are gonna come. And that's literally all I had. And then like for the verses, it was like da 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 da. And then I said, don't give up. Don't give up. And then like, if you've heard this song, there's like a pop in the song that I do. That pop really was road boredom. Like you've been in the car and you just make weird noises because you've been driving for so long.
Oh yeah.
I was like, don't give up. Don't give up. And then I did don't give up. And I did this pop, and I've got like a little lip gloss on so you can't see it. But I did that and I was like, that's actually kind of cool. So I recorded it, but all in all, the song, that was it. That's all I had. So when I went to record the album or the EP, Hold On, I went to the producers I used, Kit Carlson and Chip Johnson from Alpine Red Studios in Virginia.
I know Kit.
Oh, amazing guys, amazing producers.
Ridiculous.
Just such delights to work with. And I went to them and I was like, so I know that we said we were going to do an album and I have some songs written and then I want to do this one, but it's not done yet. And I basically just came to them and I was like, we've got a song we need to all write together. And so I left, they were like, okay, so we kind of laid down what I had, the melody ideas that I had, and then the chorus, because the chorus was really simple. Because the other hard part when you write a song like this, it's motivational and it's simple lyrics, you have to be very careful not to make it cheesy. Like there's got to be that fine line of lyrical placement. And when you say, hold on, don't give up, good things are going to come, you're like, well, what else do I need to say? Like that's the point right there. But you can't fill a whole song up with that. So I went back to Nashville and I started working on the song again. And I brought in my friend Megan Farrell, who actually sings with me as well. She's a singer-songwriter, has her solo career, but also is just a wonderful human being. And so we sat around and kind of played around with lyrics and then sent things to the guys, the two producers, they played around with lyrics. And then finally it was like, we need to record this song like today. So we need to finish what we're doing in the studio.
It's called a deadline.
Put something to paper. Damn it. And I remember so I flew back to Virginia and Kit and Chip and I, we'd had the song, it was 90% done. And there was this one lyric we couldn't get, and it was in the second verse. And we're sitting there and we're doing everything. And Megan was at her day job working. And I was like, let me text Megan, see if she can just get on the phone with us really quick and just throw an outside perspective in. And it was like, because the lyric starts, when you're out of patience, take a breath, you can change it. Don't give up, don't give up. And then it was like, remember if you fall again. And then we couldn't get the part after that. So Megan gets on the phone. We've been going back and forth over this for like an hour or so now. We get Megan on the phone and we call her and we're like, okay, we got this. We're like, it's not a wait, remember if you fall again. And then we get nothing. She goes, well, what about it's not a break, it's just a bend? And I'm like,
2 seconds.
Perfect. 2 seconds, Megan. 2 freaking seconds. We've been like nailing this song for days or like trying to get it all placed out. And and she comes in. So that's honestly the whole song. That's my favorite line out of that whole song.
And that's
Yes. It was the little gem that came through. And I was like, it's not a break, it's just a bend. Holy shit. Oh, I don't know if I'm allowed to swear in this
You're fine.
But it was just so well placed. So yeah. And so now this song is just that kind of keep going, don't give up. Like you're gonna have some ups and downs, you know? It just is what it is, but just keep going. So
all right.
Yeah.
Well, everybody.
It was a long description of that. Sorry.
No, that's what this show's about. That's what this whole thing is about. It's the why. You know, it's I want everybody to understand why, so that when they hear the song, they're like, oh,
that was it.
Yeah. So everybody, this is Amy Gerhartz, and hold on.
troubles you're facing, don't give up. No, no, you're enough. Hold on, hold on. Good things are gonna come. Good things are gonna come. Hold on, hold on. Good things are gonna come. Good things are gonna come to you. When you're out of patience, take a breath, you can change it. Don't give up. No, no, don't give up. Remember, if you fall again, it's not a break, it's just a bend. So don't give up. No, no, pick yourself back up and hold on. Hold on. Good things are gonna come. Good things are gonna come. Hold on. Hold on. Good things are gonna come. Good things are gonna come to you. You got this one day at a time. Oh, you got this one day at a time. Oh, you got this one day at a time. Oh, you got this one day at a time. Oh, you got this one day at a time. Oh, you got this. Hold on, hold on, good things are gonna come. Good things are gonna come. Hold on, hold on, good things are gonna come. Good things are gonna come. Hold on in your heart, hold on in your world. Good things are gonna come. Good things are gonna come. Hold on in your life, hold on in the troubles. Good things are gonna come. Good things are gonna come to you. Good things are gonna come. Good things are gonna come to you.
Yay! That song is so awesome.
Thank you.
I remember the first time I heard that song. You had just put it out, and I went to iTunes and listened to it, and I was like, "That's not Amy," because it was such a departure from
Totally.
the early, like we talked about earlier, where you evolved, and
Yeah.
I, you know, that singer-songwritery sound was gone. That was just
Yeah.
all pop girl now, and it was such a cool departure. But it
Thank
still
you.
had your voice, and that voice that's like, you have an unmistakable voice. If people
Thank
know
you.
who Amy Gerhartz is, they know that voice. So it was like,
much.
that voice on this song. It's like, but it works so well.
I was so happy about this song. And you know, it's funny, and it's not that I don't still do that singer-songwriter style. I do have certain songs that I still write that get recorded, you know, that still have that guitar picking folk feel. But I mean, I don't know if you're like this as well, John, but like I get really weird song ideas. Like I'll get my normal song ideas that
Yep.
you're like, this would be top 40 radio. And then you're like, but I get these really weird, and I don't know if it's because I went to music school or just because I listen to a plethora of different things, but every now and then I get like an idea and I was like, that just might work. Like it's so
Yeah.
weird that it might work. And this was kind of like my stepping my toes into the water. Let's try some cool sounds. Like let's try these little pop noises. Let's try, you know,
Yep.
something different. And play with some melodies that bounce around a little bit, you know, that aren't that straightforward thing. So
Have you ever forbidden yourself to use a chord?
No, because my chord knowledge is really bad.
There was a point where I said to myself, "You're not allowed to start a song in these." Like it was like G or A. Like you're
Oh,
not
really?
allowed. You're not allowed to start a song in either of those two chords this year.
Oh
And
my
I
gosh.
forced
Were you-
myself to get away from G and A and major. And I was like,
Oh.
okay, I'm gonna write minor this whole month.
Yeah.
everything I'm starting in a minor chord. I don't care if it's terrible. I just not gonna write here.
Were you an instrumentalist before a vocalist?
No. Well, yes. Yeah, I started playing music when I was 5, and I didn't really start singing until in my mid-teens.
I wonder if that might be why. So for me, I was a vocalist before I knew how to play an instrument. And a lot of my writing I do now, like sometimes I don't even pick up an instrument until I have an actual structure put together. I don't necessarily always write to a guitar or a piano. I mean, I do sometimes, but when I sing something, I just sing something out loud, I record it, and then I usually find the key that works the best. So that has kind of kept me from starting songs in the same chord progression or the same key over and over. I do kind of have my sweet spot that I fall into. But for the most part, like, I think maybe that might be a difference. And I've noticed that actually with a lot of people that are just learning how to play guitar, you only really know like 2 or 3 chords. Right. So you're kind of limited on what you can do. But no, I've never.
And a lot of people stick to the cowboy chords, you know?
You know, cowboy chords, we like to knock those things, but they've been some very successful songs that have come out of the cowboy chords. There have been
many successful songs.
I mean, there's like, what is it? The Rolling Stones, you can't always get what you want. So it's like 2 chords through the whole song. Yep.
C and F. If you can play a C and an F, you can throw in an A minor once in a while, you're good.
Nick and Keith, they're like, yeah, let's just do what we want.
Yeah.
I love it.
All right, what song are we going to look at next or listen to next?
Let's talk about Forever Friend. Let's keep it a little upbeat, and then we'll get into some other stuff.
Sappy sad? No.
Sappy sad. So this is a song called Forever Friend. It's also on the Hold On EP.
Okay.
And I'll give you a little bit more backstory than I've given most people on this song, just because I'm really happy to be on this show. But I actually, this song I wrote, I usually tell people, I was like, I wrote this song when I was really happy, but I don't always tell the story. So, but I have no reason. I just don't want to bore people with my terrible love life. So
lay it on us.
It's like when you hear like, and this song was about another situation, and this song was about another guy.
Yep.
I had a crush on someone that I'd known for probably a couple years. And, you know, one of those things, like, you kind of see people, you come and go, like, we weren't like best friends or anything. It wasn't like somebody that I knew very closely, but I had a crush on him. And then fast forward like a couple years later, something actually happened. Like, we kissed, and I was like, oh, I know, I'm such a terrible person. And
now you're single, go for it.
Right, you know. But yeah, so something had happened, and then I remember, just because of that crush, the way it had kind of built up over time, I was like, oh my gosh, this could be it. Like, holy cow. And I literally went home and maybe like the next day wrote this song in like an hour. It was one of those that just vomited out of you. I don't know why I just did the vomit like noise on your show. I hope people watching this are at least entertained. So I wrote this song, and of course, true to form for my love life, it totally did not work out with this person at all. Yeah, you know.
But you got to kiss. So.
We did get to kiss. I did get some other good songs out of that situation as well. So,
was it a good kiss?
Keeping those private. I think it was. This was years ago. Maybe. There may have been some wine involved in the kissing. I don't know. Like, you know, things happen. Yeah, I mean, I'm sure I liked it at the time. I mean, now, and it's always funny when you go back. I don't know if you've done this, but like, the hindsight is 2020. When you go back, you're like, oh, we would have actually been really terrible together. Like, you have this, but we had to kiss so that I could write songs.
Right. Yep. You gotta have that.
Like, they were like, you know what, Amy, it's been a little while since you've written a happy song. Maybe we should write a happy song. And
so it's funny. I said this last week to somebody that I've said it to my wife a few times. She'll be like, hey, you haven't written a song in a while. I'm like, we haven't had a fight.
Yeah.
Haven't had anything to talk about.
Can you totally like just piss me off for just one day?
Yeah.
And then we'll make up and it'll be totally fine.
Yep.
No, so I wrote this song, and this actually was just, I was in that kind of euphoric, like, oh my gosh, like it's happened. This is great. Like, and we're gonna be so happy together. Like, I really went full on like Lifetime movie with this thing. It was
nice.
It was, or no, maybe not Lifetime, maybe Hallmark movie. Lifetime gets creepy. Like I went full, like
Lifetime does get creepy.
it does. And I've
Yeah.
actually, like, I've sung a song for a Lifetime movie, but like every Lifetime movie starts off really good and then it has a twist and you're like, whoa, didn't see that one coming.
And there's
But
a massive
Hallmark,
tragedy, but you come
yeah.
out the other end.
This would be like the Hallmark Christmas movie song. Like this is like the super, everything's perfect. Nobody lies. Nobody's unhappy. Like everybody's a great person song. So I wrote this song. It's called Forever Friend. And I did a little play on the words of like, you know, when you try to find your life partner, you ultimately want your best friend, right? And so I just kind of thought, I was like, okay, my best friend, like my forever friend. And I kind of just played off of that a little bit in this song. And I wrote this one by myself because at that time I couldn't tell people that I kissed this person. So I was like,
okay.
You know, like, and also the song was written so fast that I didn't need anybody's help with it. So
Well, that's a good thing though.
yeah. Sometimes do you still write songs by yourself or do you only co-write now?
I do both. I do
Okay.
both. The last record I put out was at 3 a.m. record. Like I'm gonna close in a studio, I'm bored for the night, nothing, and then what's that? And
You're like, holy
all of
cow.
a sudden, here's
Yeah.
a record.
Yeah, there you go. That's
So,
how it happened.
Yeah.
All right, so here's Forever Friend.
All right.
And this is the way that I wrote the song originally. It's actually recorded much more of a heavy pop version on the album. So
Okay. Ladies and gentlemen, Forever Friend.
thank you. It's no secret that I like you, that I try to get you to fall for me. And every time that I'm around you, I'm inclined to say what I really think. So here it goes. I just want to know, do you want to be my best friend? My forever friend, I'm going to spend every day together, friend. Cause it would be easy for me to fall in love with being a friend to you. No, we don't have to overthink it, cause everything is the way it's supposed to be. And if we sit back and let it happen, we may find we're exactly what we need. So tell me, darling, oh, what do you think? Do you want to be my best friend? My forever friend, I'm gonna spend every day together, friend. Cause it would be easy for me to fall in love with being a friend to you. Do-do-do-do, do-do-do-do. Do-do-do-do-do, do-do-do-do, do-do-do-do. You and I've had so much time with it, we should probably make up our minds with it. So let's give it a try and maybe spend the rest of our lives being best friends, forever friends. Spend every day together, friends. Cause it would be easy for me to fall in love with being a friend to you. Well, come on and be my best friend, my forever friend. I'm gonna spend every day together, friend. Cause it would be easy for me to fall in love with being a friend to you. Do-do-do-do, do-do-do-do. Cause it would be easy for me to fall in love with being a friend to you.
Nice. That is such a bouncy, fun song.
Isn't it fun? And it was just that, like, it's just happy. It's like it's like the Jason Mraz, I'm yours. Like it's
Yeah.
it's just a happy feel.
I kept hearing Mraz and Train, Pat Monahan and Mraz at the same time as you were doing that.
Yeah, well, and those, I mean, I love Jason. I love a lot of his stuff, and same with Train. So I kind of wanted it to have that, and also like Colby Calais. I wanted that whole kind of beachy, light, happy. I'm just happy.
Well,
vibe,
you accomplished it. Mission accomplished.
Thank you.
All right, so which one's next? Now we're going into the sappier.
We're gonna deep. I don't know. We're not gonna get sappy.
No, deep. Okay.
No, we're going deep here. So I wanted to play a song that I've been getting a lot of requests for recently. Because it goes back to what I talked to you about briefly earlier, is that, you get to a point as an artist, you're like, okay, I've written a lot of songs for me. Like, what what else can I contribute? Like, what are some topics that I feel like are important that we as artists have an opportunity to talk about? So you think about like all of the artists from the 70s and Woodstock, and like people, when I don't know, does this bother you? I get ADD, so if my brain gets a little, well, that's why. When people say music and politics shouldn't mix, I get so mad.
No.
I'm just like, well, then what else are you going to listen to? Because if you go back through history, hundreds and hundreds of artists have meshed social issues, politics, religion, like anything into music. That's the point. We're supposed to, like you said, talk about all of life.
Yeah.
And so this song was one of those songs I had originally started. This is a song called Enough. And I had originally started writing this song from my own personal perspective of a lot of the contradictions I was hearing about being a woman in music. And, like, you got to look a certain way. I mean, you got to sound a certain way. You got to, what's the next newest thing? And I started getting a little frustrated because I felt like, and I'm sure this is a male musician issue as well, but I felt like as I was trying to grow, I started losing who I was a little bit, because I was trying to almost conform my image or my sound to what was popular at the moment, and not really being true to who I was. And it started frustrating me. I remember I'd had a meeting with someone who basically told me I was just too old to be an artist.
I got that same line.
Did you get that? I got that you're too old to be an artist, but you're too young to be a songwriter. And I was like in my early 30s. I'm like, what?
Yeah,
what?
That's right. When I heard it too.
Yeah, I'm like, that doesn't really make sense though, because like music shouldn't have an age attached to it.
Yeah.
At all. Like, because I mean,
my first record came out, I was 34. Everybody's like, "Oh, you missed it."
Unbelievable. I think that if you are in your 80s and you want to put out some music, put out some music.
Absolutely.
Do it because you love it. So anyway, but there were these contradictions, and so I kind of started writing this song about me not wanting to lose myself, and it just didn't feel right. I took some of those lyric ideas, scrapped them, or put them. I might use them later for another song. I do that quite a bit as well. If something doesn't work in one song, I'll usually just file it away, and if I remember it and it sounds good for another song, I'll use it there. But I opened up a conversation on Facebook, because I knew that when I started this song, the idea for the album, this is also on the Hold On EP. And when I went into the studio with the guys, I said, I kind of have an idea of the framework of how I want this album to look. Like, I know I want a happy song. I know I want a motivational song. I know I want an angry, like, don't mess with me song. I know I want the angry
chick song. You got to have the angry chick song.
You got it. I still have to be true to me,
Yeah.
And I knew I wanted to have a song on the album that I wrote about my mom and all this stuff. And it was a 5-song EP. So I really wanted to have this song or something similar to this on the album. And I told the guys about it, and I put out, because this was a long recording process. It took, the good time of a year to get the whole thing done. And I put out this Facebook post, and I said, let me put some feelers out. Let's just get some feedback from people. And I said, ladies, I know the contradictions I face being a woman in music. What are some of the contradictions you hear with your life? Like, what are some of the things that frustrate you about being a woman? What are some things that, you feel like you want to give a voice to? Because I can't speak for all women. And within a matter of days, there were hundreds of replies from women from all walks of life, women saying they felt like they couldn't stand up for themselves and speak out, women saying that they felt like they, were being undercut by their male counterparts at work. And not even just a male-female thing. There were women saying they felt like they were judged by other women because they weren't good enough moms, or they weren't good enough at this or that, or wives, or whatever it is. And it was fascinating to read all these comments, because it was like almost a validation of sense of like, wow, we're all not that far away from each other. Like, every woman goes through this. And then I started thinking too, I'm like, well, I bet, and this is a whole other topic for a whole other day. I'm sure every male goes through this as well too. I'm sure anybody who doesn't identify with either gender probably goes through this. Like every single person
Yeah.
goes through
I would
feeling
think
like
every walk of life goes through
every
something.
walk of life, they feel like
Has
they're
their
not
thing.
enough.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And at this point too, you know, it's that like, wow, it's just enough, you know, like a lot of it came down to judgment. A lot of it came down to like, why do we try to put people into holes, like a certain box of
Jealousy.
what jealousy, insecurity.
You know, everybody says that they want to lift each other up, but a lot of times as soon as somebody steps out of the pack, everybody tries to pull them back.
Yeah, absolutely. And I almost think it's fear versus jealousy. I think it's fear of the unknown.
Okay.
I think it's fear of like, if I open up this little, if I say yes to that, then I have to look internally and be vulnerable. And I think people are very afraid of being vulnerable and open.
I agree
Because
with that. Absolutely.
we're not really taught how to do that.
Right.
So anyway, so I put this thing out, and so then it was like, oh, okay, we the producers and I also brought my friend Sarah Williams in, because Sarah and I have written a lot of songs together and I adore her. So the four of us, so two women and two men, we sat down and we're like, okay, let's get this right. We wrote this song probably 5 different times, because we would get to the drawing board, and originally it was going to be this like Lily Allen tongue-in-cheek FU type of song. And we had the kind of structure laid out. We were going there. And then we were in the studio talking one day, and the producers like had this idea. Well, we kind of all were just, I don't actually remember who had the idea, but we were throwing ideas around. And there was the idea of like, well, what if we go back to Facebook again and we say, all right, ladies, you know, if you want to lend your voices to this project, I would love to get some audio recordings of you just saying in the phone anything that you want to say. Absolutely anything. No topic is off limits. Just send me an iPhone voice recording of anything that's important to you, in terms of being a woman, and we will put that on the recording.
Wow. Okay.
And all of the recordings we got back, we were ready to do this tongue-in-cheek FU song. And when we started listening to these women and hearing their voices and hearing how powerful, you could hear the emotion behind what they were saying.
Right.
We're like, oh, we can't layer that on top of a FU type of song, like, or on top of like a
tongue-in-cheek. Yeah.
Tongue-in-cheek song like that. This is very serious. Like it's almost like we were evolving as the song was evolving, and it was a really amazing experience. And so we went back to the drawing board again. We scrapped everything down, lowered the BPMs, and really just started again. And so the lyrics for this song are a culmination of my experiences and hundreds of women's experiences, and really just the idea of saying, look, enough is enough with judgment, and enough all around. And on top of that too, I like to say this at my shows, this is a basic human being issue. This is not like, this isn't male versus female. Like, granted, yes, there are some unequal dynamics there, and there's some crappy men out there, but there's some wonderful men out there that are incredibly supportive of women and want to see that, you know, that are very, very, very much on our side, you know, and very much like, yeah, you guys probably should be getting paid the same as us. Weird.
Absolutely.
You know? But it's also a female dynamic. Like I said before, this is an all-encompassing, the one theme I want anybody to get from this song is that we all need to just start treating each other as human beings, love each other as human beings, respect each other as human beings. So that's that. I'll get off my podium now.
No, this is the place for your podium.
Yeah, thank you.
Honestly.
But we wrote this song to piano. I'm going to play it on guitar, so it's going to sound a lot different from the album.
Okay.
I highly recommend everybody go listen to the track it's on Spotify and iTunes, and hear.
And don't forget, like I say every week, right down here in the scroll is Amy's information. So make sure you grab her website and go see her.
Yeah, I definitely go check out what the producers did. Kit and Chip did such an incredible job layering those vocal recordings. And they're layered at the beginning of the song, and they're layered on the outro, and it's chilling the way they put that together. And so yeah, anyway, so here is Enough.
All right.
Look at you, you've got such a pretty face. Just as long as your makeup stays in place. Suck it in, girl, you better tighten up that waist. Show it off, but don't give it all away. And you should smile all the time. Don't complain. Just say you're fine. This is ridiculous. So all the pressure that's put on us, enough is enough. We're tired of being constantly judged for every single thing. It's time to stand out and finally change this. Enough is enough. Enough is enough. Go to work in the heels that never fit. Be a boss, but you better not be a bitch. Get a raise, they'll think you slept for it. And either way, you'll never make as much as him. If you want kids, you better plan to stay at home. If you're not married, there must be something wrong. This is ridiculous. All the pressure that's put on us, enough is enough. We're tired of being constantly judged for every single thing. It's time to stand out and finally change this. Enough is enough. Enough is enough. Whoa. Enough is enough. Enough is enough. Speak your mind and speak it loud. Don't ever let them drown it out. The way you live is up to you. It's your life, your right to choose. The day has come, time is up. I'm a woman and I won't shut up. Enough is enough. We're tired of being constantly judged for every single thing. It's time to stand out and finally change this. Enough is enough. Enough is enough. Are you listening? Enough is enough. Enough is enough. Oh, enough is enough. Enough is enough. Thank you.
Awesome.
That
There's a lot of great lines in that song.
Thank you.
But
Yeah,
the one that
really
stuck immediately with me was "Be a boss, but don't be a bitch." I was like, ooh.
And like I said, I think that may have been verbatim, like taken from one of the comments on Facebook. A lot of that stuff is just, and like this, there was so many women were like, I'm so tired of somebody telling me I need to smile more. Like, when does like that? I know. Okay, I just want to do a PSA for everybody. When you tell someone that they would look prettier if they smiled more often, and what you meant to say is you have a pretty smile, it doesn't come out the same way. Like you by telling someone, oh, you should smile, it's basically saying you don't really look good when you're not smiling, or you're not allowed to be upset or angry or whatever it is. It's like we really have got to be more careful and more intentional behind the things that we say to people, you guys. Like it irks me a lot.
Yeah.
And then for me personally, like the lines that struck me, being someone, I'm in my late 30s, I just turned 38. So the whole, like, if you're not married, something's wrong with you. Like if you want to have kids, you have to stop working. Like those are things you're like, why? Like, why do we always assume those types of things? I had for years, when I was dating, people were like, if I would meet a guy who was single or had never been married and he was in his 30s or 40s, they'd be like, well, what's wrong with him? I'm like, nothing, hopefully.
Right.
Like,
yeah.
No, know.
But
And
that's that old school mentality.
oh, totally, totally, 100%. So, but yeah, that I'm really, really happy with that song and how it came out.
Yeah,
You know,
it's brilliant.
I have plans, like always, to do a music video eventually. I think I'm going to be one of those people, John. I've thought about this recently. I'm just going to break the mold, because you know how they say you should only, well, you like, they say technically how it's done. You release an EP or a song, a single, then you release the video for the single, and then you move on to the next thing. And I'm like, but I don't want to do that. So eventually I'm going to go back. I'm going to do a video for Loving Myself. I'm going to do a video for Enough. And I don't care if it's been 3 years.
Yeah.
I'm doing it. Like, who cares?
Oh, I've got, especially now with the technology we have, I'm like, man, I could go back and do videos for all these songs I never did things for.
It's crazy. And then lyric videos, like the lyric video you played earlier for Hold On.
That's a great video.
My friend Paul Fowl actually created that video for me, and it was so much cheaper using like his programming and stock video than it was for me to like get dolled out to be in a music video.
Yep.
Like I got the same point across.
Funny thing. So I did I hired for my last release. I did a video on one song, Don't Ask Why, and it was my angry album. After 2 albums of sugary, singy pop stuff, my muse got angry, and I wrote an angry album.
You always got to go through your angry phase.
So I wrote an angry hard rock album, and I went to Fiverr, and I used somebody off Fiverr to make me an anime video because I thought it would go cool with how aggressive the song was.
Yeah.
And with my phone, my wife shot me with a in a dark room with a strobe light, and then she cut that into this anime footage. It cost me $75 and got me 30,000 views.
I've got to get on Fiverr for sure.
It was the most viewed video I've ever done. It cost me $75.
Well, for Forever Friend, I already have the visuals that I want to do a video with like dogs and cats, but like not just normal dogs and cats, like the ones that are dressed up in silly costumes and acting like human beings.
Yep.
Totally want to do that. Those video clips are a little harder to find and you have to pay a little more money for them. But I also thought like it'd be really cool to do a video one day for like one of my like a music video with, do you remember the troll dolls?
Yeah.
Like how we have the troll, but like not even like an animated troll with like the troll movies, but like having somebody just like walking the troll dolls around the video. Like having it be so low budget that it's just like, oh, you can see somebody's hand like moving.
Yep.
This stuff. And maybe it's not troll dolls, maybe it's like Barbie and Ken, who knows. But yeah, I've totally thought about that. I'm like, because sometimes those weird low budget videos are the ones that everybody watches.
So much fun. Who was it that did the treadmill video?
Okay.
Okay, Go.
Okay, Go. Yeah.
They had like a $200 budget.
Brilliant.
Just did the treadmills. That was it. One camera, one shot, go.
Unbelievable.
Yeah.
I wonder how many times they actually had to do that routine though.
Yeah,
so
that had
they
practice.
Must practice for days. Ugh.
But it's not always the high budget stuff. So.
It's not always the high budget stuff. You're absolutely right.
All right, we have one song left. We're going over time today. Guys, if you're watching the show, we're going over time. I don't care. So
I'm like, I don't even know what time it is. I put this on full screen. I can't even see the clock.
No, we've been having so much fun talking that we're just going to keep going.
Thank you. All right. Well,
I think this is the last show that gets to go on Facebook.
Stop it.
Because starting July 5th, which is next Sunday, we're exclusively on Roku. So we're going long on Facebook today, kids. It's just the way it's going to be.
You got to go get your Rokus.
Yeah.
Do it.
So you're getting a little more Amy today. A little more Amy for our last Facebook show.
I'm very long-winded too. So like, I take after my grandmother. We like to tell really long stories.
Well, you and I'm ADD OCD, so we both have that same like squirrel thing going on,
Girl. I know it's and it's been a little rougher now that I've kind of cleaned up my diet so much that I haven't needed to take my medicine much. But every now and then I'll have a bad day where I'm like, oh, I probably should have taken my Adderall this week. What's happening? Yeah. So, but this last song, we'll just get ADD again. Talking about Adderall. This is a song called Loving Myself. And this was kind of the catalyst for me. Some of my story. This was the catalyst that dove me into the pop music, that dove me into my mission, my why, everything we talked about earlier on the show about self-love. Years ago when I was living in Atlanta, I went through a bad breakup. And I had this moment when I was on the road. I put all my stuff on storage. I got on the road and I was at this point where I was like, I'm just going to tour for 6 months and I'm going to move to Nashville after that. This is pre-Nashville move. And I think when you go through a breakup, it's very, very easy to blame the other person for everything that happened, whether they did cause all those issues or not.
Right.
But with that, I had started realizing like, okay, I can blame him for everything, or I can kind of look inward and see what are some things I can change about myself. And that maybe I don't even need to change much. Maybe
It's something a lot of people will never do.
Yeah, exactly. Well, we don't, because we're so hurt and it's hard to step out of that hurt. But a friend of mine had sent me this TED Talk right at the same time. And it was by a woman, Tracy McMillan. I don't know if you follow her. She's incredible. But she did this TED Talk called The Person You Really Need to Marry. And obviously, you guys are going to pick up on this, that at the end of the TED Talk, it's yourself. It's developing a relationship with yourself. And I realized when I watched this TED Talk that I had a really crappy relationship with me. I had a lot of self-image issues. Ever since I was young, and I kind of didn't even realize that I had them. I shamed myself a lot. I beat myself up a lot. I was constantly, like in college, I was living off diet pills and ramen noodles. I was constantly trying to change my external appearance and nothing was working. And I remember when I was, I basically had gotten to Nashville and I mean, I was still touring at this time. I was playing music. I knew you at this time of my life as well.
Well, when did we meet? We were talking about this earlier. Was it 2008?
2008. It was 2008 on the Rock Boat. Okay. Yep. Cabin show on the Rock Boat.
Yes.
We were all jamming out. It was amazing.
That's not. I know I introduced you to Brian Ficino, and you wound up taking him like out on the road a million times.
Yep. Brian on the road. Brian and I did 3 projects together as a producer, or him as a
He
producer.
produced one of my records too.
Oh, he's great.
Yeah.
Such a great guy. But at this time, and people would post videos and photos of me, and I would just cringe. And the worst part about it, the big eye-opening part of it was that years would pass and I'd go back and I would find those photos and videos again and be like, wow, I actually looked and sounded really good. But in the moment, I was beating myself up and shaming myself. And so I made this conscious decision when I moved to Nashville that I no longer wanted to be this person anymore. I didn't want to be somebody that spent my entire life obsessing over my external appearance, and being someone that really focused so much on things that at the end of the day don't really matter. Like, what we look like, granted, there's a bit of vanity too. We want to feel comfortable, but we can't, like, you have your entire life, like, focus on who you are inside, focus on loving who you are and loving every bit of you. Like,
yes,
every single bit. Like, I mean, it took me a lot of work and years of work. And on this journey, which is why I'm so passionate about wanting to coach other people on this journey too, or on their journeys. But along this time frame, about a year into my self-love journey, we did the album Fire that came out in 2017, and Chip and Kit also produced that album. And I had written this song with my friend Sarah Williams, and who co-wrote Enough as well, Sarah Williams and Michelle Pereira. And I didn't know it at the time that this would become an anthem for me. I didn't know that the more I sang it, the more it was helping me and helping other people. But we wanted to write a song for this album, and I knew it before the song was written, but I was like, guys, this is the journey I'm on. And it goes back to what am I really singing about? What are the messages I want to get out to people? And I was like, I want to write a song for any woman, any man, any little boy, any little girl, anybody who regardless of their gender, their sexual preferences, their race, any of those things, anyone who struggles with their self-image, I want to write a song for them to know that, one, they're not alone, and it's okay. Like, and also a lot of the, this I talk about in this song, you'll hear the way I sing it. It kind of says a you, like I use you a lot, like you tried to break me, you tried to do this. A lot of that isn't always the outside people. A lot of that's up here, like your own internal demons, your own internal voice. It was kind of a combination of really being able to shut up other people's opinions of you and shut up the lies that you've been telling yourself as well. So this is a song called Loving Myself. And I guess we'll take the show out on this. I have to capo. I forgot it's in a different key. This is also, John, how you said to keep yourself from writing in the same key, the capo. Just move it up and down.
Yep.
Little trick I learned. Just thought I'd tell you.
All right. So what's this called again?
Loving Myself.
Loving Myself. Here we go.
Yes. You tried to break me. You tried to tear me down. You tried to shake me. You hoped I wouldn't make a sound, but I've got my own voice. And yes, I have a choice on whether or not to let you in. I'm putting myself first instead. So go ahead and try to do your worst. You are never gonna make me hurt. And I'm saying no way. I'm going my own way. And you can't stop me. 'Cause I'm loving myself, oh no way. This is my own way, and you can't stop me. 'Cause I'm loving myself, You tried to break me. Oh, wait. Nope, that's not it. Hold on. You claim to like me, but I know you talk behind my back. Well, I'm through with fighting you. I don't have to live like that. I can rise above. And I've got so much love to give, and you can't knock me down. I'm a fire you can't put out, so go ahead and try to do your worst. I'm not threatened by your big bad words, and I'm saying no way. I'm going my own way, and you can't stop me. 'Cause I'm loving myself, oh no way. This is my own way, and you can't stop me. 'Cause I'm loving myself, 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 loving myself. Ooh, yeah. Y'all can sing along at home. Oh, you can't stop me. No, they can't stop me. No one can stop me. I'm singing no way. I'm going my own way, and you can't stop me. No, you can't stop me. I'm saying no way. I'm going my own way, and you can't stop me. 'Cause I'm loving myself, oh no way. This is my own way, and you can't stop me. 'Cause I'm loving myself, oh no way. I'm going my own way, and you can't stop me. 'Cause I'm loving myself, oh no way. This is my own way, and you can't stop me. 'Cause I'm loving myself,
Nice. The whole time I was sitting here like,
Yeah, like I got it.
it's just got that that's got an awesome groove.
Thank you.
And I
Well,
love the message in that song.
Thank you. I do too. And it's funny because I kind of just created my own guitar group because there's also a piano song on the track or on the album.
Okay.
And I totally just forgot, like, Enough and Love and Myself are such high songs. And I thought for today, I was like, oh, I'm only going to sing 4 songs. I don't need to do a vocal warm-up. And I'm like, ah! Towards the end of that song, I was like, I think this is getting a little pitchy, but you know what? I love myself, and it's totally fine.
Yep. You ever go back, like, I'll listen to some of my first albums, and I was so high, I'm like, what was I thinking?
Yeah. Oh, I remember I have a whole album I did in college that only 1,000 people have heard. And that was when I was like, oh, I think I'm going to mess with time signatures, and I'm going to be like super artsy with my creative. When you're young, you're like, what can I do that's different from everybody else?
Yeah.
Change up the time signature, do some key modulations. And I remember there's a song I sing now, it's called Already Yours, that it was off an EP I did with Brian. And I capoed on 1. Why? No reason. I don't even sing it like in that key anymore. So the key that we recorded it in, for some reason I capoed on 1 on the first fret. And I was like, oh, this is clever. Unbelievable. So, and I remember afterwards too, Brian's like, why did we do that? That's why we did that.
Yep.
But no, yeah. So
But I love the message in that song.
I would love it myself. Yeah.
Yeah. So a lot of people know this. I'm a personal trainer when I'm not playing music these days.
I love it. Yeah.
And so I'm a personal trainer and a life coach, and I do Reiki, massage. And one of the things people, what do you like most about being a trainer? I'm like, honestly, you know what my job is as a trainer? It has nothing to do with push-ups or jumping jacks or burpees or anything like that. My job as a trainer, 98% of my training career so far has been helping people fall back in love with themselves who've lost their way in their own self-journey.
Yes. Thank you for saying that.
And a lot of them are moms. A lot of them are moms whose kids are getting to a point where she can start to find out herself again and not just be just mom.
Yes.
But it's not just women, it's men too. You know, overall the client, it's people looking for that self-worth again.
Yeah.
And they're looking at their body image as the first step to it.
Yeah. Absolutely.
And it's a sad thing that these days that's the measuring stick. The litmus test is what's your waistline. And that's a stupid thing to be judging by.
It's absolutely terrible. But I love what you had said about it not just being women, because I found, and it was something I didn't even think, it's not that I didn't think that men had self-image issues. I knew that what the statistics were. I definitely knew that was there. But I found when I started, like I told you at the beginning of the show, some of my favorite moments are talking to people after the show. And I've had a good number of men come up to me. I've had men be vulnerable and cry in front of me and connect and say, you know, I've struggled with this for such a long time, and I understand you. And so I think the core of everything we do comes down to the way we feel about ourselves. And when we can show up for ourselves, we're able to fully show up for other people as well. And that's been like, I mean, it's changed everything for me. It's changed my stage presence. It's changed my songwriting. It's changed my relationships with people. It's changed my vulnerability. It's changed absolutely everything in the way that I do my life. And even in the fitness world of things, like we were talking about this a little bit briefly, but when I came out of that breakup, I had put on a good amount of weight just from stress and drinking and not being healthy and not loving myself, honestly. My weight's always been a yo-yo my entire life. And the minute I started making that not the priority and making me the priority is the minute I actually started losing weight and being healthier and being happier.
Yes.
Because it just happened naturally, because I needed to reconnect with me. And so, so I love that you do that. That makes me so incredibly happy, because so many people are like, oh, I've just got to I want to put on another 20 pounds of muscle. And you're like, okay, yes, that's good. But shouldn't we also find the why behind all that?
Yeah.
So.
One of the things I preach at my clients, there's a couple of things. I take words out of their vocabulary. So while you're in the training room, there are words they're not allowed to speak negatives. They're not allowed to speak contractions. Can't, won't, shouldn't. Wish, want, and hope I consider bad words. And I know that sounds weird. But to me, words like wish, I wish I could do it. No. Go do.
Do it.
Really want to. Don't really want to. Do. You know?
Yeah.
Much like you're writing your talk. Mine is driven a lot by Yoda. Do or do not, there is no try.
Yeah.
That's how I've always kind of lived.
Look at you.
But I preach at my clients that one of my biggest goals with them is I want them to be able to look in the mirror and say, I love you.
Yes.
Because most people can't even make eye contact with their own self in the mirror.
I couldn't. I've told this story a couple times. Actually, I was very vulnerable and told this on the rock boat on stage, in front of hundreds of people, and basically had said, you know, when I made that conscious decision in Nashville, now I'm very fortunate that there are different levels of self-hatred and self-shaming. I'm fortunate that it never became a health issue for me. It was a mental health issue 100%, but not a physical health issue.
Right.
I know many people that have developed eating disorders and have developed lots of issues to try to fix something that's internal, you know, but with that being said, when I made this conscious decision, I remember the first day of it, the one thing I said to myself was, I'm not going to allow any negative word to come out of my mouth again. I can think it. I can't change my thoughts overnight. If it happens, it's there, but I'm not going to give it a voice. I'm not going to allow it.
What we speak has purpose. We give it a purpose when we speak it.
And I remember standing naked in front of my mirror, trying to find just one thing I liked about myself physically. And it was excruciatingly painful. Like, it was to the point where I think the first day I was like, I like my collarbone. Like, I think the second day was like, and I did this every day until I could start finding things. I think the next day was like, well, my hair is kind of cool. Like I had to really reprogram myself. And
that's an awesome journey.
Yeah. And also too, the funny thing is that people that know me didn't know that it was really happening. Like, they didn't know that I was in my head a lot about a lot of this stuff. When you go to parties and you're fidgeting with your clothes because you're like, oh my gosh, are my pants too tight? Like, is this, do I look okay? Yep. But a lot of it, I was still me back then. I was still happy. I was still, or tried to be. I just had a very big mental block about the way I saw myself. And so, yeah, it's been a wonderful journey. It sucks to go through, but it's the most rewarding journey you will ever do in your life. And I know that that you teach that. That's, it's incredible. But
well, I teach it because I've been through it. When you say, a lot of people don't think guys go through it. We go through it, especially as a performer. When you're standing on stage, wondering, am I good enough?
No.
But you're standing on stage in front of 1,000 people wondering, am I good enough? And you don't think they realize that you're thinking that.
No.
And you know as much as anybody. An audience can look at you and know just by how you give it. And if you can't connect with them, it's on you because of that.
Yeah, absolutely. And there's also another layer of it too, because when you're on stage, you almost have to become an actor in that moment. When you're in that negative mental space, I've been so happy that over the course of my journey now, as I've developed that relationship with myself, I am fully showing up as my most authentic self on stage now.
Awesome.
Before, it was like, okay, flip the switch, turn on the actor. I'm like, this is great. I love life. Everything's happy, and you can do that, but only for so long at the expense of yourself. It will come back to bite you, and you can still connect with audiences, I think, but not 100%, not right. The fullest version of yourself.
They can see the lack of being genuine.
Yeah. I've had so many people come up to me and be like, you look so confident now, you look this and that. And they're like, not that you weren't before, and I was like, no, I wasn't. Like, thank you for saying that. I don't take that offensively at all. Thank you for acknowledging that I've come a long way on my journey. And it's not that the music I wrote wasn't good music or any of that stuff. It was but I just was still growing for me. So but
2008 for me. I had a moment in 2008 where I realized that I was on stage for the wrong reasons. I was on stage to try to make them happy.
Yes.
While I was playing music since I'm 5 years old, and I do it because it's what I am. It's not something I do. And it was becoming something I was doing for other people. And then I had a really honest conversation in the mirror one day, and I said, I'm going to stop caring what people think. Not that I'm not going to care what people think, but I'm going to do it for me first.
Yes.
And then hopefully they come along for that journey and that ride with me. And it was like I started connecting with audiences that I'd never connected with before.
Yep. And what's even crazier about that too is that when you start doing things for you, that has now pushed me at least to the point where you can turn around and say, okay, now when I play these songs in front of people, it's not about me anymore. It's about how I can connect with them and serve them. Music.
Yep.
It's like it's a different thing, because when you were saying before, like you used to do it for them, and I'm assuming like what I'm gathering, because I did the same thing, was like I need to make sure I look cool, I need to make sure I sound cool, I need to make sure that they see me as somebody cool and that they like what I'm doing, and oh my God, and I'm in my head the whole time while I'm singing, like
exactly what I was gonna say. I'm so busy thinking on stage, I'm missing the moment.
Yes, and you're like, oh my God, I really hope that this is like coming across the way I hope it comes across. And they don't know that you're thinking that, but that's what's spinning through your brain as you're trying to remember song lyrics and perform and your guitar chords and all those things. But when you get out of that space, then you want to show up on stage for them in an act of service. It's like it changes. It changes. It flips everything over, and it's such a fulfilling thing. So man, kudos to you. I'm so thank
you too, because there's not a lot who recognize that.
Mm-hmm.
And they struggle through it, and then they get bitter about it.
Yeah.
So you too, because it's funny when you and I talk how much I'm like, oh yeah, we've both navigated that same stream.
Yeah.
Yeah,
definitely.
to see where you are now, and your voice has never been a question. From the minute I heard you sing in that cabin, I was like, oh my God, and your uniqueness. I've never, when you sing, I know it's you. You could be over there and I could be looking that way and I'll be like, that's Amy. You have a voice that is undeniably you.
Thank you so much.
And finding that other part of yourself is only making that voice heard more.
Yeah. Because
now it's being heard for its authenticity, not as a product, not as what we want people to hear it for. Now it's being heard for what it is.
I think that is the giant golden nugget that I think every musician should take away that's watching this, is just be the most authentic version of you that you can be.
Yes.
And in order to do that, build that relationship with you. And that's it. Actually, that's not even a musician thing. That's anybody watching.
That's a human thing.
That's a people thing.
That's a human thing.
That's definitely a human thing.
Well, I want to thank you for doing this with me today.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for having me. This was awesome.
Yes.
This is great.
We need to do like something like this for just an inspirational talk, just like a life coaching show.
100%. Hey, I'm getting into coaching and I have a whole thing I'm gonna run by you.
Okay.
I would love to do this. I could talk about this stuff all day long.
Me too. Well, everybody, again, right down here, Amy's information has been scrolling. Make sure you stop by her website. Find her on iTunes. Find her on Google. Find her on Spotify. She's everywhere. What's your YouTube? Is your YouTube yours?
Yeah, it's I think so. Yes. YouTube user / Amy Gerhartz. My YouTube is about to be completely redone. I've been a bad YouTuber. I'm just gonna I'm not shaming myself. I'm just acknowledging that my skill set has been pushed towards other social media platforms and not YouTube, which is actually more of a search engine anyway. We talked about that.
Right.
But my YouTube is lacking, you guys. But within the next couple of months, it will be, I'm doing a whole overhaul to incorporate a lot more of these talks, to incorporate some just nuggets of life that I can give to other people that hopefully help. And then also we'll have a music section on there as well too.
That's awesome.
But yeah, check it all out. You can find all the links on my website, amygerhartz.com as well. So
there you go. So make sure you go visit. Thank you again for doing this. I want to tell everybody, this is, by the way, you got the extended show today. 90 minutes we're going.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
That went like a quick 90. I want to say this is our last show on Facebook, on YouTube, on Instagram, not Instagram, on Periscope, and on Twitch in its entirety. I'm going to give you guys nuggets and little things along the way from now on. But starting July 5th, we're exclusively on Plymouth Rock TV on Roku. Make sure you do it. The Facebook page will always be the home base, so make sure you like the Facebook page. You'll be able to keep up with everything. Stay safe, stay well, and by the way, here's the Facebook. You and I are at this place again. And I don't know how we wind up here every time we say hello. We say goodbye. It's like we're running in an endless circle, trying to find a way to our Xanadu. And here we are again, just you and me, fighting all our battles for eternity, wondering if we can never find our way back home. And why we take a stand when we don't understand what we're even fighting for and dying for. But I will say to you, if you will say to me, with you or
some sanity between you and me. Seems the harder we try, the harder we fall. And I don't like this anymore. I'm seeing colors in darkened grays, and I just want this to all go away. But here we are again, just you and me, fighting all our battles for eternity, wondering if we can ever find our way back home. And why we take a stand when we don't understand what we're even fighting for, dying for. But I will say to you, if you will say to me, with you I wanna be, and I don't wanna spend the rest of my life living in this hell. No, I'd rather die. Can we just break down these walls and be? And here we are again, just you and me, fighting all our battles for eternity, wondering if we could ever find our way back